Our new project is making a fox bag, and for this one we don't have a pattern, so we are going to have to create our own. You're going to need to cut a square using the shape of something that you find around the house. Then you want to cut that square into 4 segments, and that will make the face and the nose of your fox. Next, you want to find something to trace around as a circle, and you can cut directly out of felt your circles for the eyes and for the cheeks and for the nose. You will take those patterns that you just made and cut them out of felt or some other fabric that you can find around the house. I used brown for the front, a darker brown for the back, and then some orange for the nose and the ears, black for the eyes, and pink for the cheeks. After you have your pieces cut out, you'll have your front and your back. You'll have the fox's face, and then 2 circles for the eyes, and then another one for the nose. You will have 2 ears and 2 cheeks. Now that you have everything cut out, you're going to go ahead and place the eyes wherever you want them on the fox's face. And we're going to just sew a little X or a little stitch right here in the middle to attach the eyes to the fox's face. And remember, if it gets tangled, you can just pull it loose a little bit. And you want to do that several times so that your fox's eye is very well stuck onto the fox. If you want to be more detailed, you can go all the way around the edges. And once you finish putting one eye on, you can go straight over to the other. You don't have to cut it and knot it. But if you want to, you can cut and knot behind the first eye and then sew the second eye on separately. Once you have your eyes on, now I'm not finishing the eyes like I normally would. So once you have your eyes on, you're going to do the same thing with the nose. All right, here we go, sewing the nose on. I'm going to put it at the tip so it'll be hanging over just a little bit so that when you put it on your bag, you'll be able to see the nose kind of hanging over where it attaches. So I'm going to go in from the bottom, and I'm just going to make a few stitches to make sure the nose is attached really well. If you happen to have black thread, it's not going to show up as much like it is on mine because I have white thread. So if you have that, that's going to work out a little better for you. But it really doesn't matter. You're still going to end up with a really cute fox. All right, now that you have that, we're gonna cut that thread and tie a knot. Make sure you cut it long enough that you can tie a knot without having too much trouble there. Okay. All right, once you have your knot, you can trim that. And now we will move on to the ears. You'll take your 2 triangles and you're going to sew them on up at the top of the fox. See how it's starting to look like a cute little fox? Okay, so for those, I'm going to re-knot my thread because I still have enough left. And I'm going to put my ears where I want them. Start from the bottom so your knot's on the bottom. And I'm just going to sew across the top of the fox's ear where it connects to the head. Now you see how I've accidentally wrapped that around? I'm just going to carefully pull it back around and then slowly pull your thread through so that you don't end up with a knot. Or a tangle, I guess would be a better word. Okay, let me get this set. And I'm going to go all the way across the top of the fox to attach the ear to the head. And you can do as many stitches as you want. You can go back over it if you want to. But you don't really have to do that. The stronger you want it to be, the more stitches you're going to want to do. And of course, you want to make small stitches so that it's attached really well. If you do those big stitches, you're not going to have it as well attached. And now we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Once you have your fox finished, look, isn't he going to be a cute little fox? Once you have him all sewed together, you are going to take the piece of fabric, the square that you made, that's the back of the fox, not the front, and you're going to sew the fox right along the top here so that he is connected to the back, and that way he'll be a nice little flap over the top. So remember, you come up from the bottom, then you're going to take your stitches down from the top, up from the bottom, down from the top, up from the bottom, and see, I did that again, so I'm just going to move it carefully over to the side and unloop it. There we go. Up from the bottom, and so on and so forth, all the way across the top of your fox to connect it to the back of your bag. Now we have the fox's cute little head sewed on to the back of the bag. So the next step we're going to take is we are going to sew the cute little cheeks onto the front of the bag. So what you'll do is you're going to put this under here just to figure out where you want those cheeks to end up. So I'm going to put mine right there, and actually kind of near the top would be a good place because that would be on the side of his face. And you can do two things. You can either take this and pin it only through the top layer, or if you don't have a pin, P-I-N pin, you can take a pin and put a dot there so that you'll know where to sew it when you pull it away. I'm going to use pins on mine. You might not have pins on hand, or you may not want to use them, and that's fine. You can just do the dot so you'll know where you want to put them. With this, we're going to do the running stitch again. You can go all the way around, or you can do a stitch in the middle, just like we did with the eyes over here. So either way is fine. Don't forget, down from the top, up from the bottom. And you're going to do that all the way around for both of the circles. All right, we have our little cheeks sewn on now. I decided to do the method where you go all the way around, but it would be totally fine to do the crisscross method like I did on the eyes. Either way is fine. The next thing we're going to do here is we're going to attach the front to the back. Now, notice that the front here is a little bit longer than the back. So I'm going to trim that. It's easier to just cut both squares the same size and then just trim it. So I'm going to make a mark here, and I'm going to make a mark here, and one in the middle. You can also just draw all the way across. which might actually be easier. Then I'm going to take the back off. I'm going to get my scissors, and I'm just going to cut that across so that your front is going to be a little bit smaller than your back. All right, now that should match. I'm going to slide that under the fox's nose there. Scoot it down to where it matches the bottom. Then, of course, we're going to do the same thing. Now, because this has outer edges, you can use the whip stitch method if you want. And remember, the whip stitch is where you come up, just like you normally would, with your knot in the back. But instead of going up and down like the running stitch, you can go around like this. Just like the other method, though, you want to make sure and keep your stitches close together. It's especially important on this part because whatever you put in the bag is going to fall out if your stitches are too big. So either way you want to do it, you can do the whip stitch or you can do the running stitch, but you'll go all the way around your fox bag front. Now, I noticed that my cheek on this side is a little bit off to the side. So what I may do is I may get my scissors and just take that off. All you have to do is clip. My scissors may be too small, too big. If you have one of these, this is called a seam ripper or an unsewer. Some people call it an unsewer. I think unsewer is more fun. So you're going to take that, a pin or a pair of scissors, and you'll just cut one of those threads, and then you should be able to just pull it off. So before I finish sewing around the edges of my fox, I'm going to stop for a minute and sew my cheek over a little bit further. All right, guys, I finished sewing my fox. You'll notice that around the edges, I used the whip stitch. And then when I sewed my cheek on, I used the running stitch. And now it is time to put our strap on so that we can make this into a bag. If you don't have a strap, you can also use a piece of fabric that you cut really long. You can use some yarn. You can use all kinds of different things. Just make sure you attach them really well. And that's what we're going to do here with this. I'm going to sew it to the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right here. If you want to pin it, you can. And I'm going to do the same thing I usually do. I'm going to go from the bottom up through. But I'm going to do it a bunch of times because this strap is what you're going to be using to hold your bag and all the things that are in it. So you just want to keep going and going and going until you're really sure you've got that on there nice and tight. If you have a sewing machine, this would be a good time to zigzag stitch across your ribbon several times to make sure that you've got it on there really tight. But since we don't have a sewing machine right now, and since we're hand sewing this, I'm just going to do it a whole bunch of times. All right. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and we'll have our finished product. Okay, guys, I sewed my other strap on. I've got this strap. You can make your strap as long as you want. This one might go over your shoulder to be a hip bag, or you could use it as a regular purse. But look, isn't that fun? We've got a cute little fox bag. If you're feeling really ambitious, you can put some Velcro here, and you'll have a latch on it so that things won't fall out as easily. But we've got a pretty good flap there. See, we can put stuff in the inside and carry our bag along with us and enjoy having a cute little fox bag. If you want to check out Pinterest, there's lots of other patterns for different animals. There's a bear, there's a polar bear, a bunny rabbit. There's lots of ideas that you can find to make your own little animal bag. Thanks for joining us.